Guess who? It's no class Eric Bass.
It's me, and Alta Mills, Zane Valentine, the Cadillac Accordio, the squared circle.
And you are listening to the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling Podcast.
Enjoy it all.
This is the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling Podcast. Feel the pain in the blast. Through the ropes, through the fight, Maritime Wrestling rules the night. The past, the present, the future. Maritime Wrestling never dies.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Corey, joined by the best boss you'll ever meet, Corey Robichaud.
How's it going, folks?
Doing good, doing good. How's that little thing called the BSHL going?
It's been busy, man. As you know, you're there with me. It's been really busy. It's been good. Finals is still ongoing. We have Game 6 this Friday. Elspucktuck in Miramichi. Miramichi leading series 3-2. Also looking to finish it out at home. I don't know, man. I feel like Elsie picked up some momentum, but we've had some good streams. We've had some pretty good times talking to some people, especially people from Miramichi that we don't know that we're randomly meeting are hilarious. Our chat's been really good lately. I credit a lot of that growth of the chat to the guy that's right below me here, Jason. I feel like he, since he came on board and started hanging around the chat, it's gotten a lot more fun. So, it's been really good. I've been having a lot of fun. It's hard to believe that this is the last weekend of season 2 of the BSHL podcast. We've done a lot of work. We've come a long way. And I'm pretty proud of the fact that every BSHL playoff game was streamed somewhere by someone.
Yep.
Every one. So anybody that was stuck at home or in the hospital, or we've heard a lot of stories, you were able to follow along from home. And in the midst of that, a ton of the games have been amazing crowds. Huge sellouts in LC, sellouts in Miramichi, $10,000 50-50s. Like, we're only seeing growth. So it's going. Sorry for the ramble. It's going really well. Ramble away. The BSHL podcast. And thanks for mentioning it.
Yep, and don't forget to go subscribe.
Yeah,
the
go
Unofficial
subscribe.
You were seeing your Hockey League podcast, Facebook as well. We have over 13,000 people on Facebook. It's amazing. From one sport to another. Jason Casey, how's it going? Tri-City Tide, man.
Tri-City Tide, yeah.
How's it going with them?
Good. Big doubleheader coming up this weekend. Friday night and Saturday, they're taking on the Tri-State Admirals from New Jersey. So, it should be pretty good. Friday night, regular game. Saturday night is superhero theme night.
Okay.
So
that's why the comic book panels.
Yeah, so we're encouraging all the kids to wear capes and costumes to the thing. Best costume is going to have... there's going to be a draw, or the winner with the best costume is going to win some Cineplex tickets and some movie passes and a whole bunch of cool superhero stuff. And so, it's pretty cool. It should be a good weekend of basketball. So,
you guys know who my favorite superhero is?
I'm not sure.
Superwoman?
No. So the waiter always gets it right. He
The
comes
Hurricane?
The waiter comes up to me and he's like, "Super salad." I'm like, "Super salad. That's my guy."
Oh my God.
That joke was terrible.
It's one of those
Oh
days.
my
And
God.
finally,
You get
Mark
that from the
Mark.
corny site last night, didn't you?
yeah, I did.
No, not the corn site. It was the porny site. He was on Pornhub.
The corny site.
Get it right.
All right, they don't want me to introduce Mark, but I will anyway. Mark the Mark, how's the wife?
It's going great. It's going all right. Well, my favorite superhero is Super Donaire. Hey, yo. But,
It's a good one. It's a good one.
but anyway, not as
It's
busy
just
as
ripped
you
off
guys.
my joke. What are you talking about?
He borrowed it.
He
I
borrowed,
borrowed
there
it.
you go.
Exactly. I gave it
I-
back to you now.
I like Mark.
You
a
guys
lot.
can both keep them.
So everything's going good with you, Mark?
But yeah, I absolutely, obviously not as busy in the whole streaming, podcast, social media type of stuff as you guys, but it's going very well. Work
Yep.
is going well. Life is going well. Can't ask for more.
Zola's going well.
That she is.
Now, I did not say Zolov. Zola's his dog. He's
I
not
thought
on
he said
medication.
Zoloft the first time. I was like,
Me
you named
too,
your
I was
dog
like-
after an antidepressant. Mark, are you announcing on this podcast today that you're going to be running for the Green Party in Dieppe? I heard that was a rumor.
I think I haven't even announced my candidacy yet, and I've already
Okay.
been kicked out. So
Oh, okay. Fuck. Well, good try.
yeah,
Good
sorry
try.
guys.
All right,
You know
fine.
who should run? You know who should
Maybe
run?
next year.
Logan Green. It's in his
There you
name.
go.
Oh
Someday.
man, that'd
Oh
be the
my God.
baddest party in New Brunswick.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be
start
one
his
hell
own
of a party. Let's
He'd
face
start
it.
his own party. Let's be
One
honest.
second. Sure.
All right, so we got 3 shows to go through here. We're going to start off with CCW Clash 31, one last fight. I'm going to go through the results, and we'll have a chit-chat about it after. On their pre-show, Oscar Ironside, he beat Jake Maverick. Hi, Maggie. Fantana beat Leon Wolf. Was not sure if this was for the River Valley title. We're going to assume it was. Kerry Killam, he beat Spike Etsy. Matt Strong, he beat Caden. Rugged Rick Owens beat Chris Lewis. Chris Lewis is now retired after this loss. Massey Harris and Kirk Obey went to a double disqualification. Salem Wilder beat Zoe Sager. For the NBWA tag team titles, Crude Oil, they beat Hunter Sampson and Shane Budalove. And the main event that night, Larry Horowitz defended the NBWA heavyweight title against Narcissus Saint. Pretty stacked show here. Yeah.
Salem won the number 1 contender
Yes.
for the women's. So just wanted to
Yes.
mention that.
So a few new additions here: Oscar Ironside and Jake Maverick. Jason, what can you tell me about these two?
New students from the River Valley School, CCW school. I was talking to Rick Owens earlier, and he was saying that Jake Maverick had previously trained with Lance Storm, Calgary.
Corey's
and then-
eyes just lit up.
I love the Maritime wrestlers. Listen, you think about some of the best guys we have currently in the Maritimes, they train with Lance Storm. It's not a coincidence.
yeah,
Hollywood
very
Cole's
true.
ripping it up right now.
Hollywood Cole, Charlie Hubley.
Yep.
So apparently Jake trained out there and then moved this way and then joined the River Valley Wrestling School here. And so he's now wrestling for CCW. So same thing with Oscar. He's been in the ring training for approximately a year. So they're starting to get their start. So yeah, it'll be cool to see. Rick Owens also mentioned that there's the school is full, a lot of new people coming along. So
Love to hear that.
yeah, keep an eye out because there's going to be more talent coming soon, I'm sure.
Where's that school located?
In the Fredericton area. It's
Okay.
non-advertised. It's more or less know the right people to get into the school. They kind of like cherry pick, and there's a long screening process.
Cool.
So they get the right quality and the right caliber of people in there. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I'd never heard about it.
That's the first time of me hearing about that school. Actually, I'm sure I saw it and I forgot. I forget things every day. But the name River Valley, you know, the Fantana's the River Valley champion. We once had a River Valley, a Lumberjacks hockey team. You know, is that like that part of New Brunswick? Is the River Valley?
Yeah. So
Guessing
from so from like Doketown through Blackville and then up towards Fredericton is technically the River Valley. And the
Okay.
people that are from there, you think about like Adam Story and some of those people, they're fiercely proud to be from the River Valley. So yeah, that's a pretty. If you've never been, I highly recommend taking a drive out there, especially in the fall. Gorgeous drive.
Yeah. I love the Doketown, Boys Town, all of that area. Absolutely gorgeous.
We got friends from Boys Town too.
They're
Shout out to
douchebags.
Chantel
What are you
and
gonna do?
shout out to Chantel and Richard. Fantana beating Leon Wolf. We were assuming the title was on the line. Is Fantana the perfect fit for the River Valley Championship? Not
I
all
guess
at once.
not. Go ahead, Corey. What do you think?
I
That
think
Corey?
this one. All right. Yeah, I think he's a good guy to build people up and then hand that title off to somebody. He's got a ton of experience. You know, I just see him as that guy who he has a good match against somebody. They win the title. It elevates them a little bit. And then eventually he gets it back, maybe in a 3-way. He doesn't pin them. He pins someone else. You do something with it, and then he elevates somebody else again. He's had that belt, I think, more than once at this point.
Nope,
And,
it's his first reign.
Oh, really? I thought he had it more than once.
Nope.
He's been a guy who's had that middle card belt in other promotions, though. He's just that kind of guy, but he's not if he's a middle card guy, he's one of the most talented middle card guys in the Maritimes. He's somebody that can help take somebody from down lower and elevate them. So I always like Fantana a lot. He's fun to watch. Kids love him. He brings money. I mean, he's got a very unique look, unique wrestling style for the Maritimes. I don't know. You want to get some fans in, you book Fantana, you put him on the poster, it's going to help.
Mark, you saw Fantana at IGW, correct?
That is correct, and it was actually my first time seeing Fantana. So that was
Popped his
that was
Fantana
fairly
cherry.
different. Absolutely. Again, another one.
Cherries
just
everywhere for Mark.
popping all of them. Man, it's crazy. But yeah, like it was very interesting to watch Fantana, and it's like you guys said, like it's not common in the Maritimes to see a luchador. And for a wrestler to have that type of move set, and I know that Corey mentioned having that experience. I think it's fairly safe to have a mid card title on Fantana and really elevate the other talent. And being around that promotion, and having people come out of that River Valley school, who knows what's going to come out of there, right? We don't know right now. It's going to be a surprise. We might see him on the card and big talent and like, shit, there's the guy to elevate him, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I find that River Valley title is almost like a workhorse title because Jason Boa had it prior to Fantana, and I mean Boa,
Nick Strong as well.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like they're the guys that put all the work in, make sure that all the rest of the people are getting the spotlight, giving them the matches, giving them the title shots, and then once the next guy, so Boa was able to help elevate Fantana and everything, and once he was ready, then the title fell onto him, and it was his job to elevate the next generation coming up. So I think it's on the right person.
Rugged Rick Owens versus Chris Lewis. The history here is Rugged Rick Owens, the first ever NBWA heavyweight champion, even predates the belt being called the NBWA title. He loses the title to Chris Lewis. Chris Lewis is the second champion. Lewis then loses it to Scott Lee Crew. Scott Lee Crew loses it back to Rugged Rick Owens. During that time period, Chris Lewis became like almost the somewhat authority figure, and they have one last match. This was the first big feud in NBWA. Rick Owens wins, Chris Lewis loses. It was loser retires, so Chris Lewis is now done. Thoughts on this?
Do you think Chris Lewis is done, or do you think Chris Lewis comes back under a mask?
Oh,
I always enjoy that. I always enjoy when they come back under a mask.
It's a very good question. Cool. I'm not sure. Chris really hasn't been in the ring a whole lot in the last little bit, so I'm not sure if he's like done. I know Rick Owens still has a few matches left in him, I'm sure. I know that his knee is feeling better from his injury, so I don't think we're done seeing Rick Owens just yet.
Yeah. Anything else on this match? No. All right. The NBWA tag team titles, Crude Oil, they retain the titles. Matt Chevron, it's been someone that's been on everybody's radar lately.
The Alberta Clipper.
Yeah. Is this a push in the right direction? You put him with someone that's as over as a heel as Scott Lee Crew. So that's rubbing off on him. Become this massive
100%.
heel. What's to be expected for Chevron?
Speaking of workhorses, he's a workhorse wrestler. He was initially trained by Can-Am Wrestling in Edmonton.
Okay.
And because they call him the Alberta Clipper. He's originally from Grand Prairie, worked in the oil fields out there, wrestled out there. And then when he moved this way, moved to Fredericton. And he was actually training with Kaizen for a while because he knew Kobe from wrestling out west. And it was the only school that he knew of. So somebody had called Rob and said, hey, listen, we got a guy in Fredericton that's driving all the way to Dartmouth to train. So can he come to your school? So started with Rob and them, and now he's on the card, and he's, you know what I mean? So he's got experience, and he knows what he's doing in the ring, and it's cool to see him like push. And I mean, Scott Lee is, you know what I mean? He's heel of all heels. He comes out and he throws dog bones at you. So I mean, milk bones. Like it's funny. So yeah, I think it's going to be cool to see the two of them build and grow together.
Coming out of Can-Am, for anybody that doesn't know, his trainer was Tyson Dukes. So you talk about Lance Storm being a great trainer, another great trainer with a wealth of experience from around North America, around the world, including the Maritimes, Tyson Dukes.
So what I kind of wanted to add about him as well is, now, as we know, my last show that I saw was at IHW, and we did see Chevron appear there, but as a tag team partner for Big Bad LG, right? And knowing that he also appears at CCW, you never know. He might be getting the rub there as well. It'd be great for him.
IHW's, it's funny because you see all these same guys at multiple shows.
Yep.
And sometimes it can be a different gimmick. You know, is LG and Chevron going to be a tag team in the tag team division in IHW? Right now, it's Crude Oil in CCW. For me personally, I think Logan Green is, like, if there's a bingo card of guys to watch, you know, he's probably one of the lucky numbers. You know, he's
definitely dead. He's in the middle. He's in the middle of the card for sure.
So to me, it's like him being in a tag team in IHW. I think he can do like I think it was Mark that told us, like, oh, can you imagine Hollywood Cole versus Big Bad LG? I was like, I don't think I'd like to see that match because it's two similar gimmicks. Them together, and we've seen them before. You know, Money Talks.
Money Talks, yeah.
But them together is a pairing that would make sense. But I don't think. I think that they're both big enough that they don't need to be in a tag team, but in a different promotion, like with IHW. If the plan is to just, you know, this is what we have for you, it's a tag team. It's like, that's great. CCW, LG is going to just go up and up and up and up and up. Like the run that Scott Lee Crew had as the heavyweight champion. Imagine that for Big Bad LG in a year from now. Like, you have to imagine that River Valley title is going to find its way sooner rather than later around the waist of Big Bad LG. And, you know, Fantana versus LG, that's a good match right there. Fantana against anybody is a good match.
Bad blood, my dude. Bad blood between those two, eh?
Does that translate? That was IHW, though. Does it translate to CCW?
Yeah, I mean, Fantana's the ultimate babyface.
Yeah.
So you put any heel against him, Fantana's going to bring the best out of that heel.
Yeah.
And I mean, LG is probably one of the best heels there are right now. So it would be a really cool match to see.
Yeah, but you guys know how cross promotion stuff I enjoy it so much, especially seeing like the NWO and North Pro.
Yeah. So, final thing here for CCW, Larry Horowitz defended his title against Narcissus Saint. Saint's been in the Maritimes forever. It seems, you know, he's been around. First time I saw him was in the late 2000s as Alexander Saint. That's kind of a big name to have a title defense against, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's been around a long time. kind of kept to himself in his own little bubble, in his own promotion for a while. But I find as of the last like year or so, he's really starting to expand more. So I mean, we've seen him. I've seen him UCW, obviously with Supernova. Now this is his second time with CCW. He was at CCW in January as well. So I mean, yeah, it's cool to see that and see what the heavyweight title for CCW is bringing in for talent. So it's really cool.
So Larry Horowitz with his first title defense, I think his first or second. His reign's been going pretty well. Anything else to add to CCW before we move on to the next show there was this weekend?
Maybe just one thing, actually, just to kind of point out, because it went kind of under the radar during our discussion, but the Zoe Sager versus Salem Wilder match. Is Zoe Sager not a WWE ID talent?
She is, yeah.
So that's huge for Salem Wilder, especially early on.
And this was, like Corey mentioned, number one contender to the NBWA women's title, held by Bia Moss now.
Bia Moss, correct. Yeah,
correct.
So next show that we have, RSPW, Real Savage Pro Wrestling, Long Live the King. The results for this show: Gabriel Savage beat George Chevalier. Rudy Lockhart beat Hayden Bright. Wesley Pipes beat Stephen McFly in a 20-man rumble. It was won by Big Bad LG Logan Green, last eliminating the All-Territory Elite Champion Dominic Warrior. We'll talk more about that in a second. Chantel versus Ronnie Payne went to a no contest when Sierra Stone interfered and attacked both ladies. Demonic with the Disciples of Chaos beat Chaos. Chaos is the wrestler. And for the RSPW Heavyweight Championship, Giant Orion beat Elric. Dominic Warrior is one of the top prospects right now in Real Savage Pro Wrestling in the Peninsula. Like, there are two big names in the Peninsula, or up-and-coming names, and it's Gabe Savage and Dominic Warrior. I remember seeing Dominic Warrior when he just started. Skinny, very green, and watching his matches lately, he's put on some size. He's almost comparable to Finn Balor. Like, he has a very Finn Balor look. He's got the All-Territory Elite title, which is their secondary title, and I feel that's what a secondary title is supposed to do. This guy's on the rise, and now he has this. His feud that he is going to be having is with Jaws. Jaws is probably from that old school Peninsula crew. Jaws, Snake, and Chaos, who had CAW, and now it's going to be XAW. Having a feud with Jaws, who's been around for over 10 years. If you listen to his promo, it's in French, but we all speak French. You know, he's been around for over 10 years. Thoughts on Dominic Warrior here, because, you know, once, like, he's booked for IPW as well for the April 5th show. You know, he's someone that's going to break out. Like, he's got a lot of potential. Thoughts on Dominic Warrior?
I agree with you. He has come a long way. I saw him wrestle live the first time I went to Real Savage year and a half ago. And he was still fairly new, still fairly green. I think he had just won the title at the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was good. He's young. He's quick. But I have been watching some of his other stuff since then, and the development and the just where he started to where he's come is unbelievable. So it's really cool. It's fun to see. It's he almost reminds me of a Fantana as well.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? He's fast, he's quick. So yeah, I think that's going to be good to watch. So
Mark, you haven't seen Dominic Warrior, have you?
I have not. So he is one of the talents that I've yet to see. But again, as you mentioned, right, we're seeing him featured on posters now for different promotions outside of RSPW and those northern promotions, right? So that means a good thing. It means he's getting noticed and he's getting out there, and that's what you want as a talent, right?
We mentioned him earlier. Big Bad LG is the king of Real Savage Pro Wrestling.
All hail the king.
All hail the king. Again, starting slow, but he's winning all these accolades. He was a tag team champion. Now he's a king here. And for a character like Big Bad LG, it suits him so well.
Oh, 100%.
Thoughts on Big Bad LG winning the crown?
May I start?
Go for it.
So honestly, this is probably the best thing that could ever happen to him. Because let's face it, the character calling him a king, he's gonna run away with it. He is absolutely oh man, I love it. And the thing about it, I'm not sure if you mentioned it during the match reviews, but it also gives him, I believe, not a number one contender, but a future title shot as well.
Was that part of the stipulation as well?
I believe I did see that.
So the heavyweight title or the all territory elite title?
That's the part I'm not sure about.
Because if it's just a title shot, if it's he can challenge for any title, him taking the title from Dominic Warrior again makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yep.
Big Bad LG. I'd love to see Big Bad LG win 2 or 3 secondary titles this year, and next year make his way to the world title somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Those mid titles are stepping stones, right? So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Think you could match Cole from last year?
Not right now. Cole's been doing it a lot longer than LG, but eventually I could see that happening.
Yeah. I think, to me, LG reminds me of a young Charlie Hubley.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I completely agree with that statement. 100%.
Yeah.
I see so much Hubley in LG. Wrestling skill wise, and let's not forget that not only is he's doing great in the ring, but he's got this refereeing background, so he understands the psychology of it, the timing, the pace. Those are all things that are hard to teach somebody. He has it, and the one thing that he has that you can't teach is that personality. As we see with Mark, you can't make somebody fun to listen to. I'm just kidding. Mark's like, I'm going to kick this guy's ass. We're going to go catch a Wildcats game sometime. Mark's going to kick me in the shin. But no, I think he's got all those, hard
and we got to remember, too, that LG just come off an 8-month injury. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's been gone from the scene for 8 months and still made himself relevant by showing up at shows on crutches and in a wheelchair just to mouth off at people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
can't teach that,
Yeah, exactly, right? It's fantastic.
So the moral here is we're big fans of Big Bad LG.
We're big fans of Big Bad LG.
Man, we need him on here. 100%.
We respect people who work through an injury, like Sugar Knee, Corey Votor over there. Works through an injury. Doesn't matter what goes on, how much pain he's in. Shows up, puts on the mic, and gets the job done. LG is much of the same.
Yeah, can't shut me up just like Big Bad LG. I think Big Bad LG is a lot more charismatic, though. Something interesting that's happening in Real Savage Pro Wrestling is the Disciples of Chaos. Salvaticus, Demonic, what was it? Vice the Clown.
What's the new one, Mark?
Mark reached out to find out who it was.
I was very, very curious, and I wasn't going to stop until I found an answer. I wasn't going to get violent or anything like that, but I did find out that the guy in the white jumpsuit would be Vic Manson.
Which is a cool name.
That's a pretty cool name.
This freak show group, Disciples of Chaos, Connor Cook said, man, it reminds me of the Wyatt Six. It does. It kind of reminds me of, there was this group, I think they're still there in AAA, called Psycho Circus.
Yeah.
And they all had these masks and they were clowns and all that. It reminds me of that mixed with the Wyatt Six. You can tell it's inspired by the Wyatt Six for sure.
Oh, for sure.
I love gimmicks.
Yeah.
Other than title belts, gimmicked characters. I was a huge fan of Kamala, and I was a huge fan of the missing link and Abdullah the Butcher, like characters like that were always like something that to me was they're not the best worker. And I'm not saying that about the Disciples of Chaos. I'm just saying like Abdullah and them, it was very punch kicky, I'll stab you with a fork. But they didn't have to know how to work.
Yeah, it's a standout, right?
Exactly.
It's whatever makes you different.
So thoughts on this? Demonic, he beats Chaos.
With the assistance of everybody else.
Everybody. So it was pure chaos.
Takes chaos against chaos versus the chaos.
Exactly.
Just as long as they don't go the wrong way with it, right? We think about gimmicks like that and people with large characters like that. You can either go Wyatt Six route, you can go, like you said, with Abdullah and those guys. You could also go Dungeon of Doom. So let's not take that route. I'm just saying that it's very similar. That's what they were trying to do, is take guys in this over-the-top character. Maybe they weren't all the best workers. They couldn't get it over. So
or Shockmaster.
I'm just saying that's a beautiful thing.
All right, I like the Disciples of Chaos. Let's not compare them to the Dungeon of Doom or the Shockmaster.
I'm not comparing them to it.
Congratulations, Fred Ottman on the Hall of Fame.
You gotta not turn that route.
Yeah, as long as they find the right balance, I think they'll be okay. Yeah. They can keep the characters to the entrance and their promos and actually wrestle in the ring, then they're going to have a hit.
Yeah. So, other than that, the main event that night, Gino Ryan defending the Real Savage Pro Wrestling heavyweight title against Elric.
Elric is a giant.
Giant Elric as well. Both are giants. Must have been a great match. It was kind of obvious that it was going to be an Orion win. But Orion as the first champion, kind of a no-brainer, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's everywhere. And he's a fantastic wrestler. He moves like a luchador, and he's 6'8", 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And that's special because you're not going to find that anywhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So...
May I offer a correction once more? He's like over 7 feet and like over 350 pounds. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about.
That's his gimmick now. Mark, the king of kayfabe.
Mark, the poster reader. Mark.
Shit, I've seen him in real life more than once. Trust me.
All right, moving on here. UCW Madness and Mayhem, the final show this weekend. The card, UCW heavyweight champion Hollywood Cole successfully defended the title versus Jonathan Cross. Madison Miles beats Ethan Knight for a WWE Toy Championship belt. We'll get into that. Joey White beating Justin Newhook. I don't remember who told me this. Like, they're related or something?
Yeah, apparently they're cousins.
Did not know that at all. Max Power beat Lincoln Steen. Robbie McAllister beat Bad Thad Howitt. JP Sims beats Medium T, formerly Big T. And Chip Chambers defeats Dawson James. Hollywood Cole with a pretty big championship defense here. Mark asked this question earlier. Is this the last time Cole and Cross face off this year? And I was like, probably not. Seems like it's working.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not the last time you'll see them face each other.
Bold prediction here,
most likely.
Bold prediction: Cross is the one to take the UCW title from Cole.
I agree.
Didn't we talk about that last time as well on episode 3?
Whether Cross would win. There were cross marks.
They were cross marks.
I'm just saying. We all like him a lot. He's got a look. He's got a style. It works for me. I like him. I like watching him. I'm a cross mark.
Yeah.
You know, if Hollywood Cole and Jonathan Cross were a tag team, would they be the Hollywood Cross or the Cross Coles?
Man, awesome Corey question. Is like failing on the jokes tonight.
Hollywood Crosses.
The Hollywood crosses.
Wow.
There you go.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Wow. Cross Coles are pretty good.
That is money.
So Madison Miles here. She beat Ethan
Man,
Knight.
those pictures.
Oh,
Her chest looked so beat up. Good God.
He drew blood, eh?
Like, oh my God, it was so red.
yeah.
I don't know, man. Wrestlers
I
wear that like
I
a badge
messaged
of
her and I was like,
courage.
I hope that you got a couple good ones on him too, because
Good
my
God.
goodness.
So this
Who
Who
match
was
was
it?
There
Lots
was
of
for
Band-Aid.
somebody in North Pro once that took a bunch of chops and had that same, like that super, super red across the chest. I can't remember who it was, but I don't know. I'm a pussy ass hockey fan. I know I'm
I-
not made for that.
I
took
know
a chop-
Charlie had gotten hit like that. I think it was against Silva.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
yeah,
It
that
had
might
Drew
be
blood.
it.
Yeah. Ugh.
I remember back in 2009, maybe 10, Remy Petit gave me a chop because they were like, chop Corey. And
You lose a bet? What?
no, and actually it was BT that was like going to fake chop me. And Remy was there. Can I do it? Okay. And he just chopped me. And I had my shirt. I don't remove my shirt for anybody, especially my dog. But I didn't remove my shirt, but I remember getting home and seeing the fingerprints on my chest. So a chop,
Did
kind
you
of
sell
hurts. Didn't have to sell anything.
it?
Jeez, shut up and take my money. That's what it sold like. Like a chop hurts.
And that was Remy. Can you imagine like getting chopped like that from like a New Hook or an Ian
Oh.
Pratt?
Jesus. Like I like Ian. And I know Ian likes me too. But the one thing Ian would love even more than liking me is just completely making me miserable and hurting me. So I'm not going to get in a chop battle with Ian Pratt. Pratt Industries 101.
Yeah,
Yay, Pratt. Go Pratt. No chop, please. So Madison
just
Miles
stare at
here
you.
wins the WWE toy title. So a styrofoam title was on the line.
Yeah.
I don't know the story around this. I can't imagine this has to be a one-time thing, right? Or is it going to be like a legit thing?
I have no idea. I don't know where the title came from. I don't know.
I read about it actually. And apparently
then-
it was a kid in the crowd that had the title. And they just agreed that this one time the title would be on the line. And that's it. So whatever. She beat up on Cole's buddy. Did he run in or anything? Did he even try to do something about that?
I don't think he did. He had his own
was-
match to worry about.
Holy Lord.
Cross
No
marks.
tag title match. And from what I see, there was no Rudy Lockhart was not there either, right? So we only had the, I guess, 2 title matches here.
Yeah.
So pretty solid show by UCW though.
Yeah, for sure. They always put on a good show. I like it because they have like a revolving door of talent. They've got their core roster, but they do bring in some different names from time to time, and like Big T. I don't think Big T or Medium T hasn't been in a match in a while. So I mean, technically, this would have been his debut as Medium T, or for
he
UCW
has been
at least.
wrestling for Dave Boyce Championship Wrestling though.
Yeah. But this is his like UCW debut as Medium T, right? So
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just fun to watch.
So Jason, show's coming this weekend. You have it in front of you?
I don't, but I can.
There you go.
Shows coming this weekend. We have Superstars of Wrestling.
Mm.
And we have New Breed.
And so from what I have on my list, Superstars of Wrestling matches, Wesley Pipes will take on Zane Valentine in the main event. Can I just say, first of all, thank you to Zane Valentine and No Class Eric Bass for that intro. They only do it for the best, so feel pleasured, boys. So
Absolutely.
A pleasure. Whoa.
pleasure,
Settle
yeah.
down, Vulture. Oh my God.
Zane Valentine and No Class Eric, is this the best duo in the Maritimes right now?
They're fun,
Ooh,
man.
They're fun.
They're really fun. And it's the thing that I like about this, I don't think Eric Bass is managing anybody else. Zane Valentine and that's it, right?
That's it, yeah.
That's so rare.
Yeah.
That's so rare to see that. Usually you have a manager and he'll have a tag team, he'll have a female wrestler, he'll have a main event wrestler, maybe managing somebody else. This is the duo. I love it so much.
And Eric reminds me of LG as a manager.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the main event for that one. A cruiserweight match. Rudy Lockhart versus Fantana. That's going to just steal the show right there. Franco Varga will take on Ryan Storm. Matt Chevron will take on Rugged Rick Owens. The Strong Brothers will take on Hunter Sampson and a mystery partner.
Opponent. Yeah.
So New Breed Wrestling, other than that, is the other show. Do you have the card in front of you? Because I do not.
Yeah, give me 1 second. We have got a VIP match of Sebi versus Jefferson James. New Hook versus Olafur Hansen. Bad Thad Howitt and his manager Ian Wolf will be coming out to confront Jonathan Cross.
Champion Bad Thad
Howitt. Bad Thad Howitt, correct. Damian Spade is looking for a tag partner because he wants to try and get his hands on the NBW tag team titles.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of tag team titles, Bobby Boyette and Ricky Mortis have teamed up to go for those titles as well. You're going to see Ryan Schimmel, Riddick Stone, Ryan Denham, Kobe Christ, and Max Power as well on the card. So looks like as well a pretty stacked card. Should be fun to watch.
So tonight at 9, we will be talking with Andre Myatt, Maritime Wrestling legend. Love Andre. He's going to be dropping down here for an interview on the new Breed Wrestling show. So look forward to that at 9 tonight. New segment that we will be doing here is Fan Question of the Week, or every other week, depending on how many questions we have. We're going to try to limit it to 1 per show. Jason, our first question.
That's a very good question. Give me a second. I didn't know you were going there.
I was going there.
Yes. Thanks for letting me know.
He just
No worries.
went there.
Took pictures and came back.
Been busy all week. I haven't. Give me 1 second here. It was from Jamie Haley.
Good old Jamie.
And his question was, I don't have it in front of me, but I do remember him saying, asking what wrestler got us into wrestling in the first place. So now I'm not sure if he meant Maritime wrestler or mainstream. So I guess we can answer both, I guess.
Both? Yeah.
We'll do both.
All right.
Great idea.
All right.
Let's start off with the Mark.
Oh, man. I think Corey knows a little bit about this. But, well, I mean, if we're talking, wrestling in general.
We are.
Yeah, but like, I mean, not Maritime wrestling. Now,
Okay.
let me talk.
All right. All right, LG Jr.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like if we're talking mainstream wrestling, I mean, I had been as a kid mostly into WCW more than WWE at the time, known under a different name. And I was more of a, I was into like the bad guys, like the guys that would cause chaos, the guys that would.
I swear, if he says Hogan.
No. I liked more so like at the beginning when Scott Hall and Kevin Nash showed up as the outsiders. Like that's when it became like absolutely chaotic to me, and I absolutely loved their like little takeover angle of WCW, and that's when I really, really got into it. And that's when I really, really started to enjoy Scott Hall, even on the mic, man. The guy was magic.
So Scott Hall would be your answer.
Oh yeah. Like,
because I remember you telling me.
How old were you when you started watching wrestling?
Oh man, like I was born in '93, so I'm a lot younger than you guys. And so, like, I was probably
only by like 4 or 5 years.
Man, I graduated high school in '93, man.
I was 5 in '93, so
But, I probably started watching when they showed up, around like 97, 98?
Yeah,
96.
something in there.
Something like that. Didn't last long, but it was freaking amazing. Loved it. When we're talking Maritimes, I could think about my first show actually in the Maritimes, which was North Pro Show. And I believe this was the last show where fracture was a thing.
It was.
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the factions that you guys used to talk to me about all the time. Like, these guys are
Troy
so good.
Merrick,
You guys see.
Sabotage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like, seeing Sabotage wrestle as a tag team really got me hooked. No pun intended. New hook. All good. There you go. New tag team name, if it ever comes up. Hooked.
So Mark's dream trio is Razor Ramon and Sabotage. Jason,
Absolutely.
you're next.
So I'm going to start with Maritime Wrestling first because, as I mentioned, I'm older than all you guys. So I started watching wrestling when I was a little kid, like 7 or 8 years old. Back then, it was Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. My whole family are wrestling fanatics. My grandfather, my aunts, my uncles, my great-grandmother was a wrestling fan. So I remember being a little kid, we used to watch it on Saturday nights, and then my aunt used to bring us every Wednesday to the TV station on Halifax Street here in Moncton to get in line so we could make it inside to watch them film the TV tapings for Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. And then those tapings were shown on Saturdays. So it was cool as a little kid to watch yourself on TV, right? So as Corey mentioned earlier, the wrestlers with the gimmicks, like obviously as a little kid, you go for the good guys and you boo the bad guys, right? Like 7, 8 years old, you follow the crowd, right? But for me, my favorite wrestler growing up was the Great Malumba.
Okay.
Not sure what it was, what stood out, but just his gimmick and the way he carried himself in the ring was different than all the other guys. You know what I mean? Like, he came in with the fur and he had the dance and the sumo moves, and you know what I mean? So it was
very
totally,
gimmicked.
Yeah. So that's what really like stuck. But Killer Carl Crew, the Cuban Assassin, all the guys with like the big visual gimmicks of what stood out the most. So yeah, I wasn't for WWF way before the WWE. I wasn't allowed to stay up that late because back then they were only on TV at midnight on Saturday nights. And being a little kid, I wasn't allowed to stay up, so I didn't watch it. But as I got older, 9 or 10 years old, 11, I started staying at my grandparents' house on weekends. And they're like, well, if you're good, you can stay up to watch wrestling tonight. So that's how I started watching WWE.
So you were good. You were real good.
I was
that day.
really good every Saturday. And when I was like 11 years old, I was massively into martial art movies. Like Karate Kid came out in 84. You know what I mean? Like Missing in Action with Chuck Norris and all of those type of movies, right? So when I started watching wrestling and Ricky the Steamboat come on, I was like, oh my God, there's a martial artist in wrestling. That's my guy. And he became my guy, and he stuck with me even to this day. Like, I love Ricky the Dragon. Yeah.
So Corey, you're next.
All right, so I'm the next oldest in the group for sure. I started watching wrestling in like the late 80s. At that point, my family lived with my grandparents, or my family lived with my grandmother and my great grandparents. We lived in this house that I live in now. It's my house. But we grew up with my great grandparents, and my great grandfather was a grouchy old man that always had a cigarette. Felt like he always had a cigarette. He never smoked it. He was just there. I don't know when he took a puff, but he was always there. And when there was none left, he lit another. That's all I remember. You had the little yellow fingers, around the fingernails, all yellow.
Oh yeah.
That old man just held the cigarette. But I used to love watching wrestling with him. And he used to tell me, Corey, you just sit down and you watch the wrestling. Don't act up or you won't be able to watch. Because at that point, it was on like WCW Saturday night at like 6, 7 o'clock, and then some WWF in the afternoon. So like I could stay up and watch it. We had gotten past that point where Jason said it was at midnight. And I tell you, I was good. Holy shit, I wanted to watch it. But I used to be a dipshit. Let's tell you the truth. So wrestling, something would be going on in wrestling, and something would be happening off camera, like a tag match or outside. They're showing one of the two, and I'd stand to the side of the TV to see if I could get an angle to see what else was going on. And I thought it worked. I was a dipshit. So that's my favorite story. My great grandfather used to say, "Yeah, you people please confess." No, I can see more. So anyway, back then, I was like 4 or 5, man. I was born in 84. My 2 favorite wrestlers growing up, one WCW, one WWF, they got me into wrestling. Hulk Hogan, because too many of us were Hulkamaniacs. Sorry, Corey. And Sting. Maybe even more so Sting. I loved Sting. There was a TV show back then, Saved by the Bell, and then there was California Dream or California Dreamin' or something like that.
Yeah.
And Stinger was like that California. He had the blonde hair. Little did I know I was going to end up with no fucking hair. I'll bet. What are you going to do? But those were Sting and Hogan. Like I had Hogan bars of soap and Hogan toothbrushes. And I mean, anything that was Hogan and I saw it at Zeller's, I was like, Mom, please. So, I major myself. Kmart too. Kmart had some good stuff. But I love that shit. I loved Hogan. I had a Hogan wrestling buddy. Let me tell you that much. But for Maritime, it's hard. I was really young. I remember I went and saw a little bit of it. But there wasn't a ton of Maritime wrestling locally, and I obviously couldn't drive. So as soon as I got my license and I could drive, I'd go see Grand Prix Wrestling in Kokan. And Real Action Wrestling in Kokan. And the first Maritime wrestler that I loved was the Wild Man, Gary Williams. I just loved his style. I loved his look. He was built. He was a big guy. I remember marking out going to a concert in Halifax on Citadel Hill in 2007. It was Stained with Nickelback and some other bands, but I wanted to see Stained. And man, little do I know, right in front of me, we were front row. Who's working security right in front of me? Fucking Wild Man Gary Williams. I was marking out. I loved it.
I had that same experience seeing Ozzy Osbourne. He was at the Coliseum.
When I fell in love with wrestling was IHW, though. That's when I really fell in love with Maritime Wrestling, and I credit that almost entirely to Titus. For me, Wildman Gary Williams and Titus were my guys. So when Wildman made his way to IHW and he had the feud with Titus, I was in absolute heaven. So that for me, those are my beautiful Maritime Wrestling memories. And that's who really got me first into it, Wildman. But the guy that got me hooked and going to every show every month for years was Titus.
Cool.
So my turn. I'm going to start with
Hulk Hogan. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hulk Hogan.
We heard it before. He told us a lot of times.
I'm going to shut the fuck up. I'm going to start with my mainstream guy. And it's going to be no shock to anybody.
Yeah, it's Hogan.
We had one of the greatest title reigns ever. See,
Hogan.
All right?
We're talking
and
about
it is the man, the myth, the legend, Gilbert.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that.
Well played, Roadhooer.
Try to rib me. Do I even have to
it's
say
Hogan.
He's the Ultimate Warrior? He's
the Ultimate Warrior.
I was 2 years old. I saw Ultimate Warrior beat Hulk Hogan. My mom and my family tell me that they didn't even know if I was going to be able to watch WrestleMania 6 because they were like, no one beats Hulk Hogan. Everybody picked Hogan except for me. The 2-year-old was right. And it goes deeper than that. It goes to people bullying me at IHW, telling me to not wear Ultimate Warrior t-shirts. So I went the extra mile, got an Ultimate Warrior tattoo. I'm a childhood hero. What else can you say? For Maritime Wrestling, I'm going to go with, I started with Grand Prix Wrestling in '99, the Legends Tour, and we went to in 2000 as well. But when I really started to like old enough to like really realize what's going on, the guy that really got me into Maritime Wrestling is one of my best friends, BT Bobby Mann. And, I found out about IHW through BT, who was working with me. His real name is Steve McKinnon. No relations to Nathan. But so quick story here. His girlfriend at the time was pregnant with his first and only child, Seth. And she was bringing this 1970s camera with her that weighed like 30 pounds. And I had just gotten this brand new little like digital camera. And I was like, BT, if you want to buy the memory card, I'll record your matches. Because BT was getting this push at the time. And he had been told, pushes aren't for you. Your spot on the card is you're the street fight guy. He got over. For some reason. The crowd just gravitated towards him after he turned heel. They had to turn him babyface again. And he won his first and only title, the IHW I title. Feuded with Ryan Storm, one of the best feuds I've ever seen. I was a plant in the crowd once, my first wrestling spot. And it wasn't much. I gave a beer to BT. But yeah, BT Bobby Mann is the guy that introduced me to IHW. And it was like Grand Prix felt like, oh, this is Mimid and Pipier's wrestling. This is what my mom watched when she was a little girl. IHW felt more like, yeah, you're welcome. You're closer to my mom's age than mine. So IHW felt like this is my wrestling, this is my company, and to know that they're still going strong right now warms the cockles of the heart. But yeah, go Ultimate Warrior.
And I thought he was just going to say, "Where's my cock?" I'm like, what the fuck?
That's exactly where I thought he was going as well.
So,
gives me a boner too.
So just quick news here. Loblay, Cody Uno Ocho, he's in, where is it, Thailand right now?
Thailand, yeah.
So that is wicked. He is the most traveled wrestler from the Maritimes, I believe.
Oh, 100%.
Today? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Was there any other news to cover, or was that it?
I think that's about it.
I think we're good. So don't forget, at 9 tonight, Andre Myatt will be here. And this has been episode 4. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me.
Thanks again for the question, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie. That's right. Jamie Haley. He is one of those guys that supports us in everything. Yeah. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate Jamie and all the supporters that we have. I feel silly saying fans because I'm just a jabron like everybody else.
Yeah. I always prefer to use the word supporter too.
Yeah.
They're not fans of me. They support me. They support senior hockey.
Exactly.
They support Maritime Wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the only person I look down on is Mark. But it's just because he's below me in the StreamYard right now.
I mean, I am on the bottom left. Can't blame you.
Thank you.
There we go. Right under him.
We can't see it now. Mark is literally under Corey. So with that being said, thank you to gentlemen for joining me, and we will see you again next week. Thank you for listening. Take care, everybody.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and remember to catch us here every Wednesday for a new episode. Please visit us on Facebook, Instagram, and more. Links are in the description. See you next time.
Don't miss out and don't be late. Hear wrestling talk that's first rate. Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock.